Hello, hello. I wanted to jump on today to give you a behind the scenes look on how I repurpose content because I think it's going to be extremely valuable for you for several reasons. So let's jump into it. All right, awesome. So today is really going to be how to take one piece of original source content and create a multitude of purposes for it so you don't have to burn out. So, one of the things before we even dive in is why create content anyway? And as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as somebody who really desires to have a platform to have a bigger impact, content creation is the number one way to build your list, to share value, to really cultivate those know, like, and trust factors, which we know as marketers, as content creators, we have to have those in place before we ever have conversions. The other thing is it's really the top part of the buyer's journey. So when someone is interested in working with you, they're going to be Googling ways to solve their problems. So when you create content, you want to be able to have a lot of different pieces of content that can come up in that search engine so they can get to know you and so they can actually learn from you and glean valuable tips before then they decide to take the next step into your funnel or that buyer's journey. So the content creation is really step one in that buyer's journey. And it's something that we need to be doing as entrepreneurs. Now, the cool thing is once we all know that we have to do the content and we kind of want to do it. I mean, if you're passionate about your business, about your topic, you want to be sharing these with your audience. So the cool thing about the repurposing is it absolutely saves you time and money. It gets you off the creating new content, which can really become a drain. It can feel like you are on the hamster wheel. And it helps you to avoid burnout. So, if you've been in my world for a while, you know that I'm passionate about helping women entrepreneurs shorten their learning curve, create a soulful and sustainable business, and in a way that is not going to contribute to burnout. So, this content repurposing, or you may hear content splintering out there in the interwebs, is a surefire way to help avoid burnout. And the other piece is really feeling fulfilled. Once you start to get into this rhythm of being able to repurpose your content, there's going to be this sense of satisfaction and fulfillment with your social media strategy. So we're always looking for that. Here are three really big simplified reasons. You want to be able to maximize your energy because it's all about your vitality, not only preserving the energy that you have, but on the flip side, being able to show your passion, show your energy, and have your audience be able to catch that spark of energy from you. That's how you're going to continue to bring people back to want to even participate in your content. Second is visibility, because again, having that platform, having that inner kernel that you are meant for more, you are meant to serve, you have a voice to be heard. We have the opportunity in so many different areas and avenues to jump on for free on these social media platforms and have our visibility and our voice be heard. And then the third thing is really our vibration. Sharing content is a way to share your love and to have that positive ripple effect go out into the world, which I don't know about you, but that absolutely juices me up. All right, so let's get into it. These are ways that you can leverage your original source content. And what I mean by that is you have created, say, a live stream like I'm doing right now, or maybe you're repurposing a masterclass or even a coaching session if you have permission that maybe you've executed on Zoom, or possibly something that you have done as a pre-recorded YouTube episode. So that is what I'm talking about. It is your content, is something that you've created. That's what I mean when I'm talking about original source content. So, one of the very first things we want to do is prep. We want to make a plan. We don't want to go in willy nilly because this is going to work. This repurposing strategy is going to work best when you have a plan, when you're clear about your messaging pillars. So you may have heard other content that I've shared in regard to how to define your messaging pillars. I'll make sure to link that in case you haven't caught that so you can really understand what I'm talking about. It's really being so crystal clear in your own mind and in your own heart. What are you talking about? What do you want to share with your people? Many people will break that down into 5 main pillars. Like for me, it might be mindset, marketing, manifesting, like big ideas that then I know when I create content, I can do subtopics, but they all fall into my main overarching pillars. This is really important in your prep work. So your audience knows exactly what you're talking about. You want to remember to be on brand. And that could be really, again, something that dovetails not only into your logo, your fonts and typography, your colors, but it really also brings in your core values and your deep why. Why are you even doing this? This is a really big part of your brand. You also want to be able to be ready and enthusiastic about engaging with your audience. So, say, for example, you're on a live stream, you want to be able to take a look, manage comments, bring your audience members in, call them by name, maybe even bring them in your live stream if that's something you're comfortable with or open to. That's really going to develop this sense of community, and it's going to be way more fun and engaging, not only for you, but for your audience. And then this last tip is really important when you want to repurpose your content, and that's having an evergreen mindset. What do I mean by that? Well, it's not putting in time sensitive material and something for when you're creating that original piece of content, you have it in your mind that you are going to be using this in multiple different ways. So maybe you even take a pause if you have a lot of content that you want to cover. And in your mind, you're thinking about chapter markers because then you can go in and slice and dice those particular pieces so you can repurpose them in a way that when you pull out a bite-sized nugget, it actually is solid. It has like bookends. People will have a full sense of what you're talking about when you pull it out. So you don't want it so interwoven that it doesn't make sense if it doesn't have the full context of your original meaning or desire. And also, for example, like in one of my live streams, I talked about it being holiday, it being around Thanksgiving, and all of those pieces. And when I did that, that was a little bit trickier to repurpose because it didn't feel fresh months later. So that's where you want to just be mindful right in the beginning. I'm going to be using this in multiple ways, and you want to be thinking about how to repurpose your best content that doesn't have a seasonality, that doesn't have launch date information into it, or something that may feel like very trendy, that if months later you're repurposing it, it's not going to feel on point. All right, next is, and I kind of already talked about this, how you want to slice and dice it. So where are you going to be putting this? Because there's so many opportunities. There's no one right way. The only right way is the one that feels comfortable for you, that is in alignment with your personality, and that you are going to be able to adopt on a consistent basis. So I'm going to give you a example of something that I did this week. It was actually repurposing a live stream that I did a couple months ago, and I felt that it was relevant to bring into a different channel because it was on how to reduce overwhelm starting today. And I feel like many of us, especially when we're wearing multiple hats in our business, we can fall into overwhelm. It is not something that's time specific, but it's something that we are challenged with multiple times in our entrepreneurial journey, if not multiple times per week. So I felt that this content was going to be something that had an evergreen capability to it and also something that my audience could use right now. So originally, this was a live stream that I did over 5 days. Now, the interesting thing is, at the time I did this particular live stream, I used an app called StreamYard. It's actually what I'm using right now. And I broadcasted this to multiple areas right in the beginning. So, my Facebook group, my Women Developing Brilliance Facebook group, I broadcasted it to LinkedIn, and I also broadcasted it to YouTube. So, right off the bat, in one go, I was maximizing my efforts by shooting it out to 3 different streams at the exact same time. The other beauty about doing a live stream is there is no editing. So it is just click and go. And that saves a tremendous amount of time. If you know anything about video production, your post production can sometimes be 3 times your time, energy, and effort than your original live stream. So I'm a fan of minimizing redundancy and maximizing efficiency. And for me, live stream is a great way to do it. So I took this 5-part mini series that was originally live stream, and I broke it into 5 individual episodes for my Women Developing Brilliance, the Spirit of Business podcast. So this was a way to have 5 more installations on my podcast, but moreover, I was able to transcribe those episodes using Otter AI. So that's an app that you can check out. And this gave me an opportunity to have call to action links. So for people in the show notes that were interested in connecting with me or learning more about how business and leadership coaching works, there was that opportunity to drop a call to action link in the show notes. But the other thing is, I was able to transcribe that episode and improve my search engine optimization chances by having all of the live stream broken down now into copy that could be searched by all the little interweb robots. So that's also a benefit of transcription. The other thing is, when you go to breakout social media posts, you can easily copy paste. And I'm going to show you how I did that. Copy from your transcript into your social media posts. So a lot of things can unroll. And one of the things I want to say is, if this process is new or you're feeling like, gosh, that sounds like a lot, I just want you to know that you can pull out little pieces and tips that feel good for you. You don't necessarily have to implement this entire strategy right off the bat, especially if you are a team of 1. I just want to give you a multitude of examples, and then you can feel free to pull out what resonates with you. Okay. All right, next is that social media step. So referencing that transcript that I talked about, kind of going through and seeing like, oh, big idea, big idea, big idea. And you can pull those out, and then you can go ahead and create your graphics, your quote cards, your social media copy. One resource is Canva. They have amazing pre-done templates that you can do. And they also have a content calendar that I'm going to show you in just a minute, that you can actually get a visual overview of the different graphics and what day you're going to post them. You can create your content right there. The one thing that I love about it is it allows you to schedule on your platforms, so you don't have to go to several different areas when you're trying to repurpose your content, and you don't need another app to schedule to various platforms, for example, like LinkedIn, because LinkedIn organically in the native feed, they don't have the opportunity to schedule posts out. So it's something that you have to be thoughtful of on a daily basis. I like to batch tasks, and in that, I've been using Canva to schedule out my posts when I'm right in this mindset. All right, so here are just a couple of social media graphics that I created in Canva off of that How to Reduce Overwhelm live stream. So you can see they're, varying styles, and I actually got double this when I had the 5-part mini series. So I actually was able to pull 2 weeks out of consistent daily content. You can actually check my LinkedIn feed to see how this rolls out, to see the copy that I pulled from the transcripts in real life. But this is just kind of a visual representation for you to get an example of what it could look like when you're repurposing your content. All right, next way to repurpose is to email your list. And you can just create a simple personal note like I did this week. It actually went out this morning to my list. And I just talked a little bit about what I put out this week and gave them an opportunity to link to this 5-part mini series on the podcast. So it's a way to keep your people in the loop, but it's also a way to not have to create all brand new content when it comes to doing your weekly roundup or your weekly newsletter to your email list. The other thing that you can do, which again, this is optional, but really fun, and the software now is so advanced that what used to take ages or not even be available if you weren't super techie a couple of years ago, you can really do in a snap. I love Headliner app. It's something that you can integrate, say, with your podcast, and you can go ahead and pull a clip of your podcast. Let me make sure that you're seeing that. Let me see here. Well, there is a picture on that side. So you can see a clip of your podcast and add in a little wave of your audio. You can add in closed captions, which is really important because many people will listen to videos without sound. So you want to be able to add those closed captions in there. And then you can share this on your Instagram reels. You can share it in your feed. You can even maybe send it DM to somebody who you think might really have a lot of value from that particular piece of content. But that's just another way that you can splinter your original content and do it in a creative way, in a way that your audience is going to be able to enjoy and absorb. The other thing is you can pull out that live stream or the podcast repurposing. And like today, I'm going to be creating a LinkedIn article that's going to be called Prevent Overwhelm, that I'm not only going to link to the 5 different podcast episodes on how to reduce overwhelm, but I'm also going to be linking to this particular live stream just in case my audience didn't see it. So down here, you can see includes tips on repurposing your content. So that's all going to be in there in the article. Again, I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm just splintering it out in different ways so people can actually have accessibility to it, connect with it, engage with it. The other thing is this is also streaming on YouTube Live. So I'm just going to create a specific thumbnail and maybe just add a little touch of copy and tags on my YouTube channel. So I'm also putting that information there. So can you start to see how this becomes this kind of mind map or this trickle down effect of how you're making one piece of content and you're able to 10x your effort, 10x your reach, and really simplify how you share content. All right, a couple of tips before we wrap up. It is so important to create deep work blocks when you're trying to be focused and really have this clean, clear path of what you're doing. So when you're creating a deep work block, this is something that is a dedicated time block for one objective. You're not multitasking. It's a very single focus. Many of you can use or do use the Pomodoro method. I have information on that I'll link as well, where you can create these like bursts of time, 25-minute blocks to just laser in and focus and then have a 5-minute break. There is an app called Tomato Timer that can keep track of these little pom-poms of your deep work block, or you can set your timer on your phone or just kind of keep track of like, I'm going to repurpose my content for 2 hours every Tuesday. Maybe you schedule it in your calendar so it gets done and it feels very real and is something that you can just drop into without a lot of mental gremlins trying to help you procrastinate or keep you from that task. So for me, having these deep work blocks really makes the whole process happen. The other thing is what I referenced earlier is in Canva, they have this content calendar that you can take a look at visually how your posts are going to come out so you can make sure that you're on brand. So there's this continuity of message and graphics when people are kind of going through your feed on a weekly basis. So I think it's really helpful to use a scheduler to visually see this overview and then just kind of go from there. And then, like I mentioned, and as you know, as a high achiever, consistency is really that magic sauce. So, planning that weekly work block and really having that one and done mindset. So, you don't have to go in on a daily basis. And, if you're not motivated one day or you're thinking, like, what am I going to post on social media? When you have these deep work blocks done in your calendar on a daily, weekly basis, you don't have to be thinking about it on a daily. So you have your weekly work block, so you don't have to be thinking about it on a daily. And the one thing too that I want to say here is we always want to be focused on high income, high return tasks. So when you are able in your business to outsource this whole entire repurposing process, that is what I recommend when you have a VA or someone that can help you with your content splintering. If you're a solopreneur right now, no worries. I think it's really important that you understand this process, that you have several cycles under your belt before you can develop a SOP, the standard operating procedures that you can then hand off to a tech VA or, again, somebody that can help you with your content repurposing and splintering. But I think it's really important that you have this idea of the flow of the process of your brand messaging, of staying on point and connected to your deep why, of really even understanding how you create content as a marketer. Are you thinking about it with different chapters so you can pull it apart and splinter it, or so it is easier to pass to someone on your team so they can clearly grab your big ideas? And so it's like really almost like a bullet point cheat sheet. So each of those bullet points really become those social media graphics, or they become the tweetable, or they become a quote card that can get sprinkled through your social media channels in a very easy and streamlined way. All right. I hope that this was helpful for you. The most important thing is to take action, because we know information without implementation is a colossal waste of time and energy. You are here to save time, to shorten your learning curve, and to maximize your energy and reach. So let me know in the comments what you're most excited about implementing, when you're going to put part of these tips into your repurposing strategy. And I absolutely want to be here to support you in that endeavor. And as you know, I'm Casey Rossi. I'm a business and leadership coach. If you need help or support, absolutely head to my website, caseyrossi.com/shine, to learn about how to work with me, to learn how to put more strategies into place to grow a profitable and soul aligned business. It would be my honor to be your mentor on the journey. All right, until next time, my friends, breathe joy.